Elisa Lam case. The disappearance and death of Elisa Lam remains one of the most mysterious cases of the 21st century. Elisa, a Chinese-Canadian student, traveled alone to Los Angeles in January 2013, staying at the infamous Cecil Hotel, known for its dark history and previous criminal incidents. Her parents were naturally concerned about her traveling alone, but Elisa assured them she would stay in touch regularly. During her stay, Elisa initially shared a room with another guest. The roommate reported unusual behavior, and hotel management moved her to a private room. Everything seemed normal until January 31, the day she was expected to check out. When her parents did not hear from her, they reported her missing. Initially, police considered she might have wandered off or gotten lost, since all her belongings, including clothes, wallet, and personal items, remained in the hotel room. After nearly 2 weeks with no leads, authorities released CCTV footage from the hotel elevator, showing Elisa acting strangely. She repeatedly pressed buttons, peered outside the elevator as if hiding, and performed unusual hand gestures. The doors stayed open, due to the door hold function being activated. After exiting the elevator, she disappeared from view. 6 days later, guests complained about strange tasting and discolored water. Maintenance staff inspected the rooftop water tanks and discovered Elisa's body inside a tank, naked and in a decomposed state. Autopsy reports found no signs of trauma, no drugs or alcohol, and no evidence of foul play. And police concluded her death was an accidental drowning. It is believed that her bipolar disorder, combined with stopping her medication, led to a manic episode. Several theories have circulated. The paranormal theory suggests the hotel's history and previous victims influenced Elisa, with some speculating she played the so-called elevator game, a ritual that supposedly opens a portal to another dimension. The conspiracy theory highlights bizarre coincidences. Her death resembles scenes from the film Dark Water. Finally, the medical explanation remains the official conclusion. Her bipolar disorder likely caused impaired judgment, and she accidentally drowned after climbing into the tank. Despite the official ruling, unanswered questions such as how she accessed the rooftop and climbed into a heavy, locked water tank continue to fuel speculation. Black Dahlia case. Often compared to modern mysteries like the Elisa Lam case, the Black Dahlia murder remains one of the most infamous unsolved crimes of the 20th century. The victim was Elizabeth Short, born on the 27th of April, 1924, in Massachusetts. She was petite, with blue eyes and jet black hair, and was known for wearing black clothing, and occasionally a dahlia flower in her hair. This distinctive style led the media to later nickname her the Black Dahlia. On the morning of the 15th of January, 1947, Betty Bersinger was walking her dog with her daughter near a vacant lot in Los Angeles. From a distance, she believed she saw a discarded mannequin. As she approached, she realized it was the body of a woman and immediately contacted the police. Investigators were shocked by the condition of the body. Despite clear signs of extreme violence, there was no blood at the scene, indicating that Elizabeth had been killed elsewhere and later transported. Medical findings suggested the killer possessed significant anatomical knowledge, prompting police to investigate nearby medical schools and hospitals, but no evidence was found. Aside from a bloodstained sack, faint footprints, and tire marks, the scene yielded little. Within 2 weeks, the investigation stalled. On January 24, a mysterious package arrived at a Los Angeles newspaper office. Inside were Elizabeth's identification papers, photographs, cryptic handwritten notes, and an address book containing the names of 75 men. Police contacted those listed and narrowed the investigation to about 25 suspects, with 3 drawing particular attention. The first was Robert Manley, a married salesman who admitted to briefly seeing Elizabeth and was the last known person to be with her after driving her to the Biltmore Hotel. Despite suspicion, no evidence linked him to the crime. The second suspect, Leslie Dillon, a hotel employee, volunteered to help police and displayed unusual enthusiasm. He revealed details not publicly known, leading to his detention and questioning. However, due to lack of proof, he was released. The third and most controversial suspect was Dr. George Hodel, a physician with a deeply troubling personal life. Witnesses claimed he knew Elizabeth and had been seen with her. His wife confirmed he did not return home the night of the murder. Police secretly recorded conversations in his home, including statements implying guilt. Shortly afterward, Hodel fled to the Philippines, ending active pursuit. Decades later, Hotel's son accused him of Elizabeth's murder and claimed he was also the Zodiac killer. These accusations were widely disputed due to weak evidence and timeline inconsistencies. More than 50 men eventually confessed, all falsely. With no definitive proof, the case was closed. Elizabeth Short was buried in her hometown, and the identity of her killer remains unknown. The mystery of room 1046. On the 2nd of May, 1935, at 1:20 p.m., a man using the name Roland Owen checked into the President Hotel. He appeared young, with a noticeable scar on the left side of his head, and carried almost no luggage, only a comb, a toothbrush, and toothpaste. Later that day, housekeeper Mary Shoptick entered the room to clean. The lights were off, and Owen was sitting silently in the darkness, appearing anxious and afraid. Before she left, Owen asked her to keep the door slightly open, saying he was expecting a visitor. At 4 p.m., Mary returned to replace towels. Assuming Owen had gone out, she entered and found him asleep on the bed, still in darkness. On the bedside table was a handwritten note that read, "I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait for me." It was signed Don. The next morning at 10:30 a.m., Mary returned but found the door locked from the outside. Using her key, she entered and overheard Owen angrily speaking on the phone. He asked if the person was Don and said he had already eaten breakfast and would not eat again. His behavior unsettled her, and she left. Later that afternoon, she returned again and heard two men arguing inside the room. When she knocked, she was aggressively told to go away. On May 4, the hotel manager checked the room after the switchboard reported that the phone had been left off the hook for hours. A "Do Not Disturb" sign hung outside, and Owen responded with slurred speech as if intoxicated. An hour later, the manager returned and entered with a master key. Inside, he found Owen lying naked on the floor, badly beaten, with blood covering the room. Police were called immediately. Owen was still alive but refused to name his attacker, claiming he had fallen in the bathtub. Investigators were puzzled to find that all personal items, clothes, towels, shoes, and hotel toiletries were missing. The only items left were a tie, an unlit cigarette, a woman's hairpin, a safety pin, a small bottle of sulfuric acid, and 2 drinking glasses with fingerprints believed to belong to a woman. Owen died hours later from head injuries, internal bleeding, and punctured lungs caused by sharp force trauma. Police soon discovered that Roland Owen was a false identity. Nearly a year later, he was identified as Artemis Ogletree, a 17-year-old from Alabama, after his mother recognized him in a newspaper article. The investigation focused on the mysterious Dawn, but no trace was found. At Ogletree's funeral, an anonymous person paid all expenses, leaving a card signed Louise, reading, "Forever yours." This led to a theory of a crime of passion involving a love triangle between Ogletree, Dawn, and Louise. However, this remains speculation. The killer and motive were never confirmed, and the case remains unsolved.